Today we're going to be showing you all of our available leopard geckos. I'm here with my friend Charlie.
Oh, hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone.
So great to be back.
So great to be back.
I get to have more fun kind of focusing on the snakes. Charlie really enjoys working with the geckos.
Yeah, that's true. I do like working with them. Geckos have more of a personality than snakes do, of course.
Of course.
Well, yeah, you know, like snakes are they just hang out.
Oh, really?
Well, no, that's true. You've got some pretty personality in your snakes. Yeah. I like them both, but the geckos, I don't know. I just like them.
Yes, so the geckos do have quite a bit of personality. Let's jump into just showing you what we got. These are all available. This is female number 1. I'm going to just, she's in shed right now, so she's not even as bright and wonderful as she usually looks. And as I'm showing these geckos to you, I'm going to talk to you kind of about my philosophy in breeding leopard geckos, the way I do it, my goal, and what's been the plan here. As Charlie said, geckos do have a lot of personality, and I've seen keepers that, you know, have put a lot of time into their geckos, and some of them will even come when called to by name. I've incubated all my leopard geckos to be female, so even doing that, we still kind of end up with a male here and there. But I've always just decided to breed females. That way we keep them all. We raise them for about a year or two, and then the largest ones we keep, and the rest of them we sell to people as pets. And this is a lot of work. Here you can see female number 2. And people talk about leopard gecko keepers and ethics and the way that they do things and about testing for hets. And basically there seems to be this category of quality breeders and pet breeders. And I kind of view myself as something in between, because I put more time into picking out beautiful geckos that have nice traits, healthy animals that don't have neurological issues, that are good eaters, are beautiful in pattern. But my main target has not been genes as much as size. I've been wanting to make the largest geckos I can. So this basically started, okay, here we go, let's switch. So female number 3. So all these geckos are available. So if you do end up wanting one, you just tell me, hey, I want female number 2, or I want female number 3, or whatever one you want, you just let me know. And I'll let you know how much it is. But most of my geckos are around $150 to $250. So something like this is, yeah, she's around 150 bucks. And you have to remember that these are not just fresh-born babies. They've been raised for a year or two. They've been raised for 2 years, so they're healthy, they're eating well. Here's male number 1, he's in shed. See, the bad thing about this is that somebody that hasn't put any work into raising animals and making sure that, you know, they're good and everything could go and buy some of these and start breeding them right away. And that's the one crappy thing kind of about being a breeder, is that you can end up putting years, as I have, years into growing these beautiful animals, making sure they're nice and healthy, and then someone can come along, buy them off you, and just bam, continue and kind of jump into your projects without really putting in that time. And I really prefer my geckos going to people as pets. So yes, I'm not crazy about, like, I haven't done the het testing, because in order to do the het testing with the geckos, you would have to have a gecko with each of those hets, breed, and you do all sorts of breedings to make sure that your geckos are not carrying these hets. And for me, I don't really have any desire to do that. I don't want to produce tons more geckos than I need to. So I'm just being upfront with you that my main focus has from the beginning to make beautiful, large geckos. So I started off by getting a what I believe is a white and yellow Tremper albino giant. And this was years ago when they thought it was codominant. So this one was male number 1. He's albino and he's in shed. This is male number 2. And this is actually one of my favorite geckos. He's super, he's super cute and he has a lot of personality. I actually raised this guy at my place. But the first geckos that I bought were around $300 each. So everything that I'm selling, I'm actually selling for less than what I paid for originally. And you're getting like years of work put into trying to get these geckos larger, and they've been raised, they're healthy, they're eating well, you're not going to have any problems. They're all virgins. None of these have been bred. And none of them have been like fed crazily. They've all been fed like normal geckos. And what's happened with the whole giant, super giant thing is that now they're being labeled as recessive. But I've talked to a few other breeders that work with them, and lots of them agree with what I think. I don't think that it's a recessive trait, and I don't think it's a codominant trait.
So here we have Justine from Pearly Leopards. She's a breeder in Germany that has stock from the first giant leopard geckos, the Godzilla line, if you've heard of that. She said, sure, when line breeding tangerines, for example, it's the same as for giant. You get around 50% quality like the parents, 30 to 40% lower quality or size as the parents had, and about 10% makes often one big male per a clutch that grows better, brighter, and larger than the parents, because he got all the perfect genes combined in one body. Line breeding. Same for breeding the best carrot tail, black knight, best Diablo Blanco. Often it's just one or sometimes two animals from the clutch that satisfy our expectations. Each year I raise a super giant male that has everything I wished for. So you see, it's not as simple as just recessive genes. It is more of a line breeding trait, and this is what she has found working with the giants as well, or super giants, or whatever you want to call them. And then we have Sasobek Reptiles, and if you know anything about leopard geckos, you got to know Sasobek, because he's one of the first guys that really kind of like started doing all this and showing us on YouTube. He's basically like the OG YouTube reptile breeder. And I said to him, do you believe Supergiant is recessive and not just selective breeding? And he said, it's selective breeding and not as simple as genetic, which is exactly what I feel too. I worked with them for years when they first came out and was one of the first people to prove it was not codominant. I said, yes, I figured that I feel it's a locality thing. And he said, big gecko and big gecko equals more big geckos. You outcross and it's gone. And I told him it's the only thing I've worked on for the past like 6 years. If it was a simple genetic, there would be 150 gram animals of every genetic out there. If you look, they're the only really big ones are the plain Tremper albinos. So he's also confirming the same thing, that it's not as simple as it just being genetic, because if it was, we would see it everywhere. And they are still popular, but most people don't really know the truth about them. So that's why I wanted to share this with you.
I think it's something more like if you're familiar with Superdwarf Reticulated Pythons, where that's basically just a marketing term. But certain snakes from smaller locales are smaller in size. So I think that the same thing happens with leopard geckos, that the giants are not really so much like a genetic trait, but more a physical trait. So that means that if you're breeding, I forget which number female this is. Would this be female number 4?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this is female number 4. This one is just amazing. She's super orange and yellow. The white balance on my the white balance on my camera is showing it a little. Wonder if I can change the white balance just a sec. You know what? I have the auto white balance on, and it's as close as I can get to the gecko's color. But they are. It has a lot of lightness in it. It's not as white as it looks in the picture. It's more, but it's also more orange. This is very orange with some yellow and green in there. But she's beautiful. I kept her sister because she was a little bit bigger. Sorry. Okay. So this is a female number 4. It could be either. This is a young one we're growing. This is we're not sure the sex of this one. It doesn't know what to identify as yet. So yes, back to the giant topic. I believe that when you get really large geckos and you put them together, you get really large geckos. And if you take a really large gecko and you breed it to a small gecko, you end up with a whole pile of just medium-sized geckos. Some might be a little bit larger, but even when taking the largest ones and putting them together, you're not getting all large geckos. So to me, that's not a recessive gene, because I've worked now with these giant genes for about 6 years, and I have not found that they work the way that codominant genes work, and they do not work the way recessive genes work. It's a lot more of, you keep the largest ones, you breed those together, and then you keep getting larger ones. And now at the same time, you don't want to be inbreeding all the time. So when it comes to breeding leopard geckos, and the eyes are closed a lot because of the light and stuff, they don't really like having the light in their eyes. I wonder if I had just lowered the light just a bit. There you go, you got your eyes open a bit now? Not really. Okay, next.